self-righteous people. That's what it sounds like to me.
It's a little bit of self-righteous
A little
mixed.
religious.
Oh my goodness, it's mixed with a lot of stuff. And here's the thing: it's so much of a mix that it's hard to denote everything that's in that pot. Like it's so much stuff in that pot. Like a lot of it, and we talked about this before, Didi. A lot of it, which people have never admit to me, people that do this have never admitted this to me, looks like a response to hurt. They've been hurt this way by people who act like this, and therefore
Everybody's like that.
everybody's that. They got boxes. We villainize people. Like it's so crazy how we villainize people. Like we were just talking about not too long ago Judas, and this is I'm not gonna get into a 17-part sermon, I promise you. But we were talking about Judas, and meanwhile, like we'll read some people will read the Bible and just truly villainize Judas. Now here's the thing. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you that, oh man, Judas, he's one of the best guys. What do you mean he's a villain? Come on now. Like, he's Judas. Come on. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and come to his defense like that. But like you have to understand that things need to happen in order for things to happen. And Judas played his part. So we're sitting up here talking about how he's the evilest of evils. Okay, you can give him that much credit if you want. You can. I don't give him that much credit. Nah, I don't. And so, like, we just villainize people and say, hey, you're the bad guy, you're the good guy. Literally, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all those shows has messed us up. We have to have a villain. We have to have a hero.
Yeah, let's not go down that line because my mind already. Let's just not. That's gonna be a whole nother episode. Yeah.
I seen when Gwen grabbed her pen and started writing the notes she had. Come on now.
I have a guard over my mouth. I'm not gonna but I will say this. I agree with you that we live in a culture where it's okay to be loud and wrong. At no other point in history can I remember people just being so okay with being loud and wrong.
Yeah.
So I will give you that. The point about Judas, I don't know. I'm not drinking that water yet. But we live in a culture, but it's okay to be loud and wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And especially with Twitter or X. Sorry, I apologize. I'm so old. My Riz is low.
I mean, social media, period. Like, everybody has a platform.
Yeah.
And you can't call everybody out because then they gonna call you out for calling them out. So that's a whole nother like.
Anybody trying to have a diss tape on Twitter or on Facebook, like you call me out, I call you. But people do it. People do that.
People have full YouTube channels of that,
and it gets following. That's part of the problem,
and that's why they don't think they're wrong.
We in 2023, ladies and gentlemen. We are in 2023. Just to segue a little bit into family because I feel like that's so much harder. I know, and just let me tell you this: I know that there's a world out there that doesn't matter whether you're blood, whether you are a person they just met last week. Like the cutoff culture is real, y'all. It is really, really real. And so I say that to open it up to this. What is a red flag? And red flags may look different. If you define it different with family members, please let that be known. What is a red flag in a relationship with a family member that you have seen, that you have hurdled through, that you have just endured? Anybody could go.
Mine is the same. Like with Eddie, if you don't keep your word, we might be cousins, but we might be siblings. It really don't matter. Like at some point, I've learned over time, I know that, God is a God of family structure. I definitely get that. But I also know that human beings make choices and choices have consequences. And those consequences, you don't get to pick them. You don't get to pick which ones are birthed from your choices. And the effect that they can have on people can be deadly. Yeah. And I think we take that for granted because of the title we have in a family. and almost entitled. Like I can do this because I said so.
All right.
Or when people say, "Oh well," like family members who haven't seen their dad in years or something, and so that child may be angry for obvious reasons, for whatever reason, actually, and people will be like, "Well, that's okay. That's your daddy," and I'm like, "Nah. What does that mean? That's just a label." You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people can do things and they think that because of their title in the family, they have a right and privilege to and access to you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's I think that the consequences they cost you.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if it's family. But I think not keeping your word, not following through, I think there's still grace for that. But I stand by consequences and people don't owe you their trust. I'm a firm believer in that. And also, you know, again, great there's always grace. You know, people can be disrespectful regardless of their position or title. I do know the word says honor your mother and father. But that doesn't mean bow down to your mother and father. That doesn't mean worship your father and mother. It doesn't mean it means have respect. But um I think we have a hard time, especially in Black culture, of boundaries.
Say that.
I'm trying not to take up the whole time talking, but like
Say that.
family is one thing, but then there's Black family. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like there's a certain like there's these unspoken rules that we have where the oldest person in the family is always right, and that's not true. You know, she's 70, she 97, she can say what she want. No, she cannot. You know what I'm saying? Just certain things that like I don't think yeah, you got grandma calling people fat and ugly. Oh, that's just that's not okay. You know what I'm saying?
It's toxic.
It's toxic. Or put some more food on that plate. What's wrong with you? Oh, now you don't like pork, or now you too good for that. Oh, you know, just stuff that be like, bruh.
That's funny.
You know, so I think if it's a red flag, I think it's when it turns into that integrity thing again, manipulation, stealing, lying, all of that grouped into one. Not keeping your word. You don't show up for people, but you expect everybody to show up for you. Those kinds of things. You know, protective distance. I love you, but you know, get that child off that uncle's lap. I'm sorry.
Amen.
Go follow that, Gwen. Go
Oh, no, I think that along those lines, because I do agree that the similar to what the expectation I have for friends, I have that for family. You have to play your position. And if you're the granny of the family, then you should be the one who's holding the wisdom. You should be the one who's passing down these stories. If you're not playing your position, similar to the friendship group, then that's my red flag. Like, come on, granny, what's going on? Like,
yeah, why you the messy one?
right? Why you in all this? You know what I mean? If the auntie trying to be cool with the younger crowd as opposed to being the one who's giving the guidance, because again, if we're speaking culturally in the Black community, we do have some norms. So, I agree wholeheartedly. Toxic is toxic, whether you're family or not, and you don't get a pass and allowed to be toxic. I think the only difference between friend and family is that I can't unfamily you. I know some people do that, but I can't unfamily you, right? So it is about establishing those healthy boundaries and being able to say, hey, granny, I need you to play your position respectfully.
Right.
You got to honor them.
Right. Yeah, we don't stop letting you go after them.
I was just at the same time. I was like, why you keep putting me on ass? Like, y'all done let them drop these gems, and then you got let me warm the people up.
Exactly. Yeah. We're gonna get you first.
At the same time. But no, I was just gonna add to that because I definitely agree. But what I will add to that is oh dang, I lost my train of thought. When family, they have basically they have things that they don't communicate, like the emotions of it. Like There's stuff
That's a
that's
good one.
unsaid, but there's expectations. Basically, there we go. It's coming. The entitlement of just like they have expectations, but they're not voiced.
Yeah.
Like that. That is like, how do I deal with that?
Right.
Um,
That's real.
I definitely agree with that. That's literally. I feel like my answer is all echo and everything that y'all say. Because one thing that I realize is that, and this is, I love my family. I love y'all so much. But the people who have potentially the worst boundaries that I've encountered, family members. The people who feel I want to say almost entitled to specific time. So, for example, like I'm a very close to type A type person. It has worked for me. Like I schedule things. One of my passions is that if I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm not over here doing side jobs. I'm not over here doing this. Like if I say we gonna do this lunch, I'm with you. Like whatever that phone got to say is gonna wait until we done. And so to have people who are close to you, family members, that say, "No, I don't care what you're doing. When I call, you stop," and then it'd be nothing. Like be nothing. It'd be nothing. It'd be nothing at all. And then I'm just like, "What made you think that this was okay to do? Like what made you think that this was okay?" And once again, it goes back to that entitlement of, no, I'm family. Like I'm family. This is who we are. And also one of the things that my time working with Gwen at this place in Southern California, and it taught me something very, very keen. It made me like, it made these wheels roll a little bit more in the sense of we come from a place in that place where it's like your family title did not mean that they were closer like you assumed. So, for example, we can say, "Oh, your mom said this." Well, your mom is probably the cause of half of your issues. So, why would I say your mom said do good and that motivates you? No, that actually pushes you the opposite way. Nobody has hurt you more than your mom. And so, it kind of make me break those walls of, no, we give a lot of people passes because of their position. We give a lot of people passes because, like, oh yeah, you can steal from me, steal from me, steal from me, but that's my brother. Gotta love him. Gotta, and I gotta invite him in my house the next time just to give him a prime opportunity to do the same thing he's done 100 times before. And that's just so not true. I think loving people for who they are is real. But also loving people where they are. Meaning, I love you, brother, but you ain't gonna come steal my stuff like you did 100 times before. Something got to change. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that finally, and just to be honoring of time in general, that brings us to our final nugget. And I'm gonna go to you first, Ed, because I'm tired of putting you through this. This should not have happened. I'm sorry. So Ed, going first to you in terms of a romantic relationship. Now, if there's anything of the three, family, friends, and romantic relationship, I feel like it's one of evaluation. Let's be honest, it is what it is. It's one of evaluation. But there's also I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody on here, there's a very obvious, okay, we should not proceed any further in this romantic pursuit in this world. Like it's not like one thing. Before it was like, oh, we can't unfamily family. Oh, we putting friends back to the crowd. Maybe we just changing that relationship a little bit. This one right here, I feel like there is a such thing as cutting it off. So in terms of that, what is a red flag that you just can't get over or hurdle through in terms of a romantic relationship? What's up, guys? This is Ren from the Set Apart Podcast. Did you know you can interact with us and continue the conversation via our online forum? That's right. You can email us today at setapartpodcastteam@gmail.com, because this is not just a podcast. This is a movement. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Man, I'm so glad you let me go first. I appreciate
I know that was
appreciate
going to
you.
be something crazy for you.
I know they was gonna say something like, "Dang, they done took my answer. Now I gotta." Right. But man, this is kind of twofold. So one, I'm gonna say entitlement. That can go a whole separate direction if it wanted to. But then I'm also gonna say, just if you are messy is one way to say it, but just like if you have past experiences, that's one thing. But just how you talk about those, if like all you have to say is these negative things and you're just talking bad about people, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's like if you do that a lot, like, and I get certain experiences like they just rubbed you the wrong way, but I'm like, if you still talking about them like 3 years ago and you still like
Yeah.
you kind of need to heal, like you need to
Yeah.
heal
Be
and
single.
like yeah, and be single, and you need to deal with that because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just hard for me to be around people that just continue to talk like bad about people in general, but especially in that like if they talking like crazy about an ex, I'm just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like to your point, so you evaluate. So
Yeah.
how you talk about other people, how you process things, your perspective, right? Because it's one way to go. It's one thing to go through something and have an experience and be like, okay, that's what I took from it. Like it was an ideal, but like I learned this, this, and this. And it's another to just sit in the pit and just be like, they're trash.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I can't stand them. Or people get into I can't stand men. Like that's a whole separate thing.
Oh, you hurt. You
That's
hurt
another
her.
episode.
Oh, you hurt her.
Why am I here? Why am I here now?
That's season 3.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at there.
You hurt her. Oh, you hurt her.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah.
All right, Didi, what you got? What's that red flag?
It's along the same lines, but comparison. Like, all your stories are about someone else, but you shouldn't have invited me because that's like I have nothing to connect to. You want me to connect with everything you did with somebody else. I remember when we went over. Don't do that. Don't do that, and don't compare. And I might not even know you're comparing consciously, but you're always measuring me up against someone else, and so your evaluation is already tainted because that didn't work out. So you're looking for me to be the opposite. And I'm not going to be the opposite in every category that person hurts you. That's not fair.
Right.
So if you don't have a clean slate, like if you haven't healed, you haven't let that go, then you should be single. And it's not fair to anybody or me for like, I'm not your answer for your healing. That's not my responsibility. I'm supposed to be adding to the joy that you found already. So like, I'm doing work for 2 people.
Well,
I'm trying to make up for what they did and try to introduce myself. That's not like, this shouldn't be a job for me. This should be the highlight of my day, not here we go.
I hear that organ playing.
Right.
Y'all stupid.
Yes.
I'm just being like,
right.
That's annoying. That's draining. Right. Nobody want to hear that. Like, if, like he said, like somebody constantly talking about the other person, like that's just sucking the life out of me. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You good,
like,
bro?
Right. Like, so you called me to vent, not to really go out. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? We should be adding to, not taking away from each other.
Right.
That's definitely a red flag. So it probably wouldn't even go past that. I don't even know if it would be like, there's nothing romantic about that.
Right.
But yeah, that would definitely be cut off because you don't want to invest in a bucket with a hole in it and then be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Be hurt, have feelings going somewhere and falling right through the bottom of the bucket, and then you hurt. And then who's to blame, really? Like, who's responsible for that? Like, there was nothing holding that together in the first place. It just can go and go and go.
Right.
Like, so that's why I like what you said. Like, you can't family, but you can definitely cut off these potential.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's too expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't just do that casually. So if I'm already letting you into my space, I'm already like taking out time with you. Like that's expensive to me. My time is expensive. And if like you just called me to vent and to purge and all that, nah. Like
Yeah.
that's not my role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if we ain't married. Like, ah, eh.
Right.
So
No.
So there's the difference
Yeah.
between a therapy session and a date.
Absolutely. You
Man.
owe me money now. Like, what we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The bill. The bill. That's
Wait a
the
minute.
difference.
Let me
She
check
got
this
insurance.
this invoice here. But people be doing that though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gwen, what you got?
hold on, let me plug in. I knew you was coming to me. Hold on. I thought I was plugged in, but I'm not. Forgive me.
Okay. Listen, with great power come great responsibility. She got a setup over there.
Yeah.
It takes maintenance. You gotta respect that. You gotta respect it. Put some respect on my name. I don't want to hear no more, Playboy.
I'm pulling up on you.
Pull it up on you.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. So for me, one y'all gave now I see how Eddie feels as the one that's coming after. There y'all do me like that. But nah, like I think for me the biggest red flag is compromise. And I'm not talking about compromise within our relationship because of course every healthy relationship needs that. But like if I notice you start compromising, like you was at work and it was something you stood 10 toes down on, something you believed in, but your boss was like, I'll give you an extra 10 cents in this pizza party if you do X, Y, and Z, and you compromise. I
Yeah.
promise. I'm looking at that.
That's
That
real
is a
talk.
red flag for
That's
me.
That's
real talk.
facts.
If you start compromising in areas of your life that I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, hold on, didn't you say you believed in Jesus? But they talking about you gotta do this, and it's a red flag because what how I know you ain't gonna do something a little strange for a piece of change, like
Right.
you know what I mean?
That's
Like
facts.
I'm so serious. Like people out here. So nah, compromise is the biggest red flag for me because if you'll compromise for one, you'll compromise for something else.
Yep.
That's real. That's real. Man, that's deep. That's deep and that's deep. Um, mine is controversial. It's really controversial. People gonna kill me in the comments with this one, but I'm okay with that. Um,
She don't have no edges.
listen, I'm from around the way. I'm leaving you with something.
Not
Uh,
from around the way. Oh
uh,
no.
um, mine is that if you are willfully now catch my words, if you are willfully bathed in toxic community, there's a there's a quote that I believe so much. If you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And I cannot believe that I am just so lucky that out of all five gossip girls, I got the one that never did. Out of all five of the girls that tear people down and that they
The
just
group chats.
infamously like all of this stuff like that, like I got the one guys that never does it. Like nah, fam. Like
Why is that controversial?
just because it's like I know people they'll kick back and they'll be like, oh, like so you sitting up here saying because of her community, you would say that's a red flag. I'm like, yeah, that's the people you spend all your time with. You like, yeah, it's what it is. Like I don't believe that we're sitting up here. Oh man, it's a group of hyenas. Nah, I got that one nice pretty little cat in there in a group of hyenas. No, they would have devoured her a long time ago. These are long, toxic relationships that you are given into. And then when I have a conversation with you, the thought process is, oh, that's just so and so saying that she's just being her. Nah, fam, that came from somewhere. Y'all do that. Y'all really do that. And so I often, when we talk about evaluation, I often look at your community. What are you washed in? Because you spending way more time and have spent way more time with them than you have me. So I cannot believe that you are that. Maybe I don't control the whole world. That's cool. I don't like. I'm not alpha and omega. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, what is the chances of me walking upon the only shining person in this group of hyenas that tear people down and do all of this crazy stuff. I just don't believe it.
So is she with the hyenas when you asked for a number?
Here's the thing: you don't even know that they hyenas until you realize
that's why I
you,
wanted
you
to
don't know
hear
what the
that.
game
Okay.
is. Like you realize how bad. Like nah. Listen, if I'm a math person, okay. If it's four of them and three of them is terrible, four of them is terrible. It's like I just I just can't believe that that's that one shining person. And but here's the thing too. Not only, and this is what I've seen. Maybe this is a response to what I've seen when I've seen situations like that on multiple occasions. Not only are they bathed in that toxic situation in that friend group, but that's also where they're going to for life advice, right? And so something happens. Oh well, Tasha said such and such and such and such. Yeah, you've been listening to Tasha, huh? Okay. Okay, and I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you not to listen to Tasha. I'm just gonna sit back, evaluate, and be like, all right, listen, Tasha. I'm not gonna put my eggs in Tasha's basket as to how you gonna respond to this. So
All the Tasha's about to be in the comments. Like, what you got
Right.
against Tasha?
Facts.
my fault, Tosh. We good. We good. Listen, I can't put my eggs in those baskets. I don't believe in the whole like because I know for a fact because of what my experience with community is. I know that I have people around me that has definitely elevated me. I'm so blessed to have them. It's hard sometimes. Why? Because I got to correct myself when I'm wrong. They call me out. That don't feel good. But at the same time, at the end of the day, every single time, I've been better because of it. And so if you got a whole bunch of yes women or yes men around you, or even worse, like, and I'm not going to quote Cat Williams on this podcast, but you got a whole bunch of smart, dumb people. So they smart, dumb people. Like they give the worst advice, but in their minds, there's no one greater for advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, man. Sorry, Tasha. You and your friends got to go.
I just thought of a question when you said that, and I'll try to keep it real short. Are there is this a red flag? Because I've heard this come up when people, there's so many relationship gurus online now. But I've heard this that the way a man treats his mother is how you should expect something along those lines. Like that's like I don't know, a
Yeah.
precursor to how well he'll treat you and vice versa. If she doesn't have a good relationship with her dad, that's a red flag. Your thoughts, anybody?
Gwen, you go first. There you go.
So, from a female's perspective, I think that the way that women look at their father, so the relationship you have with your father, does tend to shape your life. I have a friend who did not know her father for her whole entire life. She recently found him, and a lot of doors and wounds that were open are beginning to be healed and closed. But I also saw her selection in men based off of the situation with her father, with not having the father in her life.
Mhm.
So I do think that that is a good gauge. However, I don't think it's the only gauge. Like I think it's a good glimpse, but the same way with Renard when you were talking about her friendship group. The concept, the biblical concept of iron sharpening iron is real. So if you got good iron in a parent, if you got good iron in a friendship, then you're probably going to be really pretty sharp. Whereas if it's dull, you're gonna.
Tasha dull. Tasha and her group is
I'm
dull.
sorry,
You want
Tasha.
Tasha dirty.
Tasha's of the world, but yeah. So just the I think the biggest thing is just stay sharp.
Yeah, that's good.
The reason I bring that up is because when we go back to family and friends, you don't get to pick your family and you don't get to like unfamily them. Like I love that term. But a lot of people base a lot of weight on what other people tell them. They tell them how to evaluate. Like,
Right.
oh well, she's not close to her father, so she probably don't even know what a good man is. And I do agree that there's to some extent, but I don't think that that's like a destiny type of statement. Like it's gonna be like this because you didn't have this. Because
Yeah.
I've seen it where, to me, as an adult in the year of our Lord 2023, if you don't know something, you can know it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, what a man or should look like or how a woman should be treated, you can find out if you want to.
Right.
And I think there are wounds, and I think there's residue of the presence of a bad father or no presence at all. But the reason I brought that up is because I know that there are a lot of people that think that that is a surefire red flag. If it ain't there, she ain't gonna be good for you, and vice versa. If his mom is like this and they don't get along, then he probably ain't gonna treat you well. I think that's too broad of a stroke.
Yeah.
But I know people that have been looked over because they don't have the ideal family situation or structure, or they're the ones that decided to start healing and the family ain't don't really care about all that.
Right.
We just are who we are type of attitude, kind of like what we alluded to earlier. But that's why I asked that, because is it a
Yeah.
red flag, or is it just it's just one of
I
those things
wouldn't.
in life where you know anybody can come back from anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it a lot of weight because I don't believe that it's true vice versa. So if she has a great
That's
relationship with
true.
her father, is she gonna be great? Like
She
I
might just
don't.
be spoiled.
Yeah, she might just be spoiled, entitled.
Hmm.
It's like, um, it's hard to kind of depict that. Like if it doesn't work both ways, then like why is this a scale that I'm putting my
And that's my point.
my
Yeah,
now of course now I do think that there's outside of it being your mother, your father, whatever. I do think it is something to say to the way that you treat people, especially people that you have difficult relationships with,
so is it fair
especially.
to just say it's a flag but not necessarily a red one?
Sheila. It's Sheila.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
yeah.
Okay.
Finish the rest of my thought, Ed. You in my brain. Tell them what I think.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
It's something to note for sure. Like um their relationship with their parents. I think I would want to look at that just the same way I'd want to look at their community and see what's popping there. I'd want to look at how they maneuver with their family, and take a note of that. Not saying that because it's this way it's going to be this, or because it's
Yeah.
not this way it's going to be this, but just like take note of that, and just yeah. Well, as time goes on, I'll kind of see how that plays out. But yeah, that's not directly canceling or complete red flagging anybody, in my opinion.
Right. That's good. Dang, that was good. Way to hit us with a heavy one at the end, DD. That was a sneak. That was a sneak attack.
I
You tried to
just
sneak
I,
that.
I can hear the people in the comments not commenting because they don't want to ask it themselves.
Right.
Because it,
And
it has been a conversation before. Because people be like, "Man, my parents were horrible, but I decided to change the trajectory of the family. But now people judge me based on because they know my uncle and they know my daddy and they know, what I'm saying."
the next time when we have this collection of people, something that I want to get on to, and I'm saying this in response to your comment, is I feel like here in the year of our Lord 2020, we got a lot of people stepping out and breaking these generational curses.
Yes, sir.
And so generational curses is its own. Oh, you don't know what you don't know. That's how crazy it is. But for the same reason that's happening, I think people are rising up and kind of breaking the chains of whether it be you come from a place of alcoholism, drug abuse, entitlement,
Bad credit.
hurt, bad credit.
Mm,
Oh, listen,
mm,
Poverty mindset.
mm,
financial instability.
ooh.
Like. Listen, it's so much. This that could be a whole thing. That could be a whole thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we're gonna put Didi and Gwen on the spot. Didi,
Surprise, surprise.
if you had just one thing, we just gonna let y'all live on this. If you had to give one piece, little nugget of advice to someone who's been hesitant to address red flags in their lives, despite the relationship, what would you give them? And I'm coming to you, Gwen, next with the same question. Somebody who is hesitant to address red flags in their life, what advice would you give them?
Consult the Lord.
Ooh. Glad I ain't put you in this one.
We be leaving him out of the stuff that we need to put him in, and it will just make decisions a lot easier. Even when everybody else say you crazy, if he say, "Yeah, I got you. You can do that. You can bring that up." I think we act like it's so far fetched, and he'd be like, "Dang, I wish they would just ask me what they should do.
Yeah.
I want them to win, so but they
Right.
keep losing on purpose, so don't ask me." But that's what I would say.
That's good. Gwen, what you got?
Okay, listen, because consult the Lord is kind of like that's a finisher right there. Because it is what it is. That's it. But if I were to add a little 2 cent to it, um, indecision is a decision. So either you're gonna do it on day one or you're gonna do it one day. Like you gotta make a decision to do it because it ain't going away. The root is there. You're gonna start seeing fruit eventually.
Yep.
But indecision is a decision. So the idea of I'm gonna put it off or I'm not gonna address it, you just made a decision to allow the root grow even deeper and deeper, and eventually you're gonna start seeing that fruit, which is what we were just talking about, those bloodline curses that like just address it. Whoever this is
Mm.
for, this is your sign. Just address it.
Mm. Dang. Nothing needs to be said. This has been another installment of the Set Apart Podcast. Thank you so much to Gwen and to Eddie for joining us.
Yes.
We really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. And always amazing job by the incredible Dee. We're going to get back to y'all with that next one. Yeah, for sure. She gets it. She gets it. Give her
The
her.
host with the most questions.
The host with the most. I'm trying to get my Al Roker on. Al
I
Roker,
see you.
holla at me. We got to do some things. And the white news anchor to be dancing. Holla at me too. I get in one of those.
Who?
Come on, Nick.
Oh,
On this day. Fox
Come on, Nick.
45.
I don't even think he do news. He just be dancing.
He be hitting it. But all right, that's been another installment of the Set Apart Podcast. Holla at us. Feel free to continue that conversation via email right here. We'll put it down there. Continue this conversation, comment, share, all those good things because, like I said, we don't do this alone. It's a family. We are set apart together. So continue that conversation online. I've been Ren. That's been the amazing Dee, joined by Gwen and Ed. We signing off. Peace, y'all.
Bye bye.
Peace.